What is up, you beautiful happy hustlers out there? Cary here, and I want to share with you the 2 keys to having a rich life. And these are not my original ideas. These are billionaire American investor Mr. Ray Dalio, who shared these 2 keys to actually having a rich life. And he knows something about having a rich life because he basically started the largest hedge fund in the world, Bridgewater Associates, and he is widely acclaimed as, one of the smartest investors in the world. Very close friends with Tony Robbins and a bunch of other very prominent leaders, and he advises others on how to live an impactful, rich life. And he said something that really resonated with me, and I want to share with you right now, and that is, have meaningful relationships and meaningful work, and you'll have a rich life. Have meaningful relationships and have meaningful work, and you'll have a rich life. And it seems so simple, but it's not easy, right? In order to break this down further, we have to take the 2 parts, right? Meaningful relationships. As a happy hustler, myself, I am very big on loving relationships. That's one of my 10 alignments in my book, The Happy Hustle. We get into the 10 different alignments. One of them is loving relationships, which Ray Dalio is talking about. Really having love in your life, both with your, intimate personal relationship, then expanding out another rung on your, circle to your family, then to your best friends, then to your other friends, that I like to look at friends as you have your 5-minute friends, who you'll see every now and then, and you'll say hi for 5 minutes. Then you have, your 5-hour friends who you could spend a day with. Then you have your, 5-week friends where you guys could, you've been in each other's lives for a while. You could go on a trip together. Then you got your 5-year friends that are going to be with you for the long run. They're your ride or dies, right? And so having meaningful relationships is really categorizing each person into a rung on your inner circle ladder so that you can really invest both the time and the effort into that relationship. And it's really important if you want to happy hustle a life that you actually love, a rich life. And I don't mean rich just financially, although that's part of the equation. I mean actually rich in terms of fulfillment and really feeling just excited every single day and grateful. And of course, there's those days where you won't feel that. But you have to have meaningful relationships, right? Meaningful relationships, both with, again, your personal relationship, which I think is oftentimes like the biggest decision of your life, is who you decide to spend the majority of your time with, right? Your, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, whatever. You and that person, you have to invest in it. And, with my fiance, Steph, we've had plenty of troubled times where we'd kind of went astray from one another and haven't been giving ourselves the time and effort. And then we've had plenty of time where we've had so much love and passion and intimacy because we've given ourselves that time and effort. And again, it comes down to, really prioritizing your meaningful relationships. Right? Think about for your family. Like, are you calling your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your brother, your sister? Are you giving them that time and that effort? Or maybe not so much. And allow this to be the wake-up call if you haven't been giving them that time and that effort, because that is how you have those meaningful relationships, right? You have to invest those 2 key things in both time and both effort, right? So then expand out a little further to your best friends, right? The ones that if you called on, they would be there for you. And there's only a handful of people, like truly, that would really show up for you, that are your ride or dies, that would really be there in a pinch. And you have to, again, give them that time and that effort, And I would just urge you, as a little action item right now, today, text one of your best friends and just reach out. Tell them, you're thinking about them and that you care, and just here to add value to them. Just text them, one person in your inner circle that you have maybe lost a little touch with, and allow this to actually spark that action, this episode and this content. Then again, expanding out to your friend circle, even further, making sure that you're giving them the time and the effort. And that is one of the keys to a rich life, as Ray Dalio talks about, is having meaningful relationships. Now, moving into the second key, which is meaningful work, right? For me, I talk about this again in the Happy Hustle. One of the 10 alignments is having impactful work. Really, making sure that you get up in the morning and you don't dread doing whatever you're doing in exchange for money. And I know a lot of people who right now are settling. And if this is you, it's okay. Give yourself grace, but don't let that be your future. Don't let settling for a less than meaningful career be your future, be your present, right? You can actually change it by first identifying, like the first step to any change is awareness, right? You got to have awareness. Awareness means, hey, when I go to the office, I know that this job really doesn't speak to my soul, and I really don't feel like it's meaningful work. Like, I feel like it's just a paycheck, and maybe I'm stuck in this rut with this career because of the fear. Like, I know it comes with great benefits. Maybe it's a well-paying job. Maybe the fear of the unknown of what is out there beyond this career holds me back. And that's okay. If you are recognizing this and if this resonates, that's okay. Yeah, again, give yourself grace, but don't let this be your future self. If you want to happy hustle a life that you truly love, that you look back on and that you're proud of, that you don't have regrets upon, then you have to make sure you're having meaningful work, because we spend the majority of our time working, right? So we want to make sure that what we're working towards is leaving a legacy that we'll be proud of. Are you working in alignment with your values and your morals? And if you're not, well, again, let this be the wake-up call. Because if you want a rich life, you have to have meaningful work. It has to be a part of the equation. Meaningful relationships and meaningful work. And again, this stuff isn't rocket science. Like, right now if your relationships are meaningful or if they're just surface. Right now if your work is meaningful or if it's just a paycheck. And you got to keep it real with yourself. You got to be honest. And then you need to set a plan forward that really helps you to find that fulfillment from your work, from your relationships. And specifically, there's 3 questions. If you've heard, me talk about finding meaningful work in the past, I point to these 3 questions that Brand Builders Group brought upon me and really helped guide me with this true north. Again, it goes back to, what problem do you feel called to solve? Right? If you don't have meaningful work right now, it's probably because you're solving a problem that doesn't truly speak to your soul. So you have to feel, that passion behind the problem that you're solving. And if you don't, well, then your work won't be meaningful. So what problem do you feel called to solve? And if you can distill it down into one word, even better. For me, I feel so passionate about solving the problem of imbalance, because when I see my fellow entrepreneurs who are on the brink of burnout because they are working themselves to the bone and they are out of balance, both personally and professionally, I resonate greatly with that because I was there. I burnt out as a tech entrepreneur. I could not do it anymore. I was working like a freaking dog, 100+ hour weeks, getting, roughly 5 hours of sleep, all for profit, success, ego, status, all the things. And I couldn't do it anymore. I burnt out. I folded my company. I moved to Bangkok, Thailand. I figured out a better way to work and live. And, those of you who know my story, that's where the Happy Hustle was born. And so I resonate with that problem so greatly. So you have to find a problem that you resonate with, that you feel called to solve for others, right? And that leads us to the second question. Okay. Who exactly do you feel called to solve that problem for? Right? Who exactly do you feel called to solve that problem for? Right? For me, I love solving the problem of imbalance for purpose-driven entrepreneurs. People who are thinking beyond just the bottom line, but really have a mission and a message that they feel really called to bring forth to the world. And, that's oftentimes who you once were. Like, if you can't determine who you are, if you're having trouble, I don't want to say the word can't, if you're having trouble determining who you want to solve the problem for, think of who you were 5 years ago. Oftentimes, that is a really great place to start in terms of who you want to solve the problem for, right? So now you got the first question, which is what problem do you feel called to solve? The second question is who exactly do you feel called to solve that problem for? And then the third question is what is your uniqueness and how can you exploit that in the service of others, right? What is your uniqueness and how can you exploit that in service of others, right? For me, oftentimes I'm told that I'm a pretty good storyteller. Okay. Like, I love telling stories. I love sharing with humor and pace and education, but also entertainment, right? Like, I like to tell the story, the art of the story. Maybe that comes from my entertainment background, being, a professional actor / model for like 15 years, just off and on now more recently. But, that's been a part of my story and I love storytelling. And I think that is something that I exploit in the service of others. Hence this video and, podcast episode that you're listening to right now, right? So you have to think about what is your uniqueness, right? Maybe you're really good at math and accounting and numbers, and you can exploit that in the service of others. Maybe, you're just so kind and giving and you can just share that love and light with others. So again, getting to meaningful work it's not like a far-fetched fantasy. It's possible for you. And it just takes having the courage to overcome the fear that is keeping you stuck right now in that career that's maybe less than fulfilling. And then you have to catapult yourself over that fear wall into the promised land. And I'll tell you straight up, like, the journey oftentimes will be full of adversity. When you're an entrepreneur, especially, there's adversity along the journey in many different forms. Even when you're making a career change in the corporate world, there's adversity. But don't let that adversity, don't let that fear hold you back from making this choice towards a meaningful work. Because if you want that rich life that Ray Dalio talks about, you have to have meaningful work. Okay? So the 2 keys to having a rich life, again, are having meaningful relationships. Like the ones that you really, you look back on your life and you say, man, I have some really amazing people in my life and I'm so grateful for them. And I give them time and effort. Time and effort is the key to meaningful relationships, right? And then meaningful work, really getting clarity on, okay, am I actually fulfilled with what I'm doing right now in exchange for money? Am I actually bringing, my best self to the table? Am I infusing passion and purpose and a positive impact, right? Or maybe not so much. And if you aren't right now, achieving meaningful work, well, it's time to change it. Identify the answer to those 3 questions. What problem, do you feel called to solve? Who exactly do you feel called to solve it for? And then what is your uniqueness and how can you exploit that in service of others? Then you can set yourself up for success with meaningful work that really speaks to your soul, that you will look back on in your life and you will just be proud of. So those are the 2 keys to having a rich life, my friend. And if you got some value from this one, I highly recommend, diving deeper into the Happy Hustle. You can get yourself a copy of The Happy Hustle, which is 10 alignments to avoid burnout and achieve blissful balance. Some of my best work is in here, and it's a really easy, fun read. 150 power pack pages. You can get it at thehappyhustlebook.com. And right now it's still free. All you got to do is help out with shipping and handling, and it'll go right to your door. And you can also get the audiobook if you'd like. It's all there. So check it out, thehappyhustlebook.com. But regardless, guys, start just looking at your life in these two key areas: meaningful relationships, meaningful work. And if you want a rich life, you need these two things just on the day to day. Okay. So look at how you are spending your time and your effort in terms of your meaningful relationships, and then getting clarity on that meaningful work. If you're not having meaningful work right now, you know what to do. Answer those 3 questions, set yourself up, burst through that fear wall, and start happy hustling that life that you love. I'm so grateful for you for watching and listening. I really appreciate you. If you are watching on YouTube, I'm so pumped. Please give us a like and a subscribe. If you're just listening to the audio, well, go check out our YouTube. We're doing a video of all these different amazing, content pieces, and you can check it out at Cary Jack, the Happy Hustler, on YouTube. So I appreciate and love you guys so much. Thanks again. I'm out. Peace, y'all.